excited to show you guys how this auto tracking feature works. It all starts with the customer transportation profile. Here you can see under the carrier tracking administration field section, I have a variety of settings related to, obviously, carrier tracking. The first and most important is this new automatic carrier tracking field, which can be set to enabled to call out that this customer is going to be auto-tracked when loads for this customer are built, disabled, obvious there, or global, which is just a setting to help you set up multiple TPs at once by cascading to a global unified TP. With these settings in place, we decide the automatic carrier tracking for enabled. We say also that you are going to begin at a certain amount of time before the appointment, which modes you want to automatically track for, the tracking provider, and for some of our providers, the duration and update interval. With those settings in place on the customer TP, the next place that auto tracking comes into play is on the load. So as you build a load for the customer that I just showed you, you'll see that our automatic carrier tracking load field is checked here, calling out that, again, we're going to automatically start this tracking session based on the criteria that you'll see in just a second. So with all of my load created, I'll hit save, and we will actually build this load record. Now, as you can imagine, in order to automatically start tracking a load, we need a couple of things. First of all, we need a carrier on the load, because who are we tracking with? So first things first, we'll go to the Freight Quote Assistant, and I will enter my test carrier here so that I can go ahead and meet the assigned load criteria. I'll assign my test carrier Arsenal Gunners. And now that I have a carrier on the load, again, our auto tracking flag on the load in combination with this carrier means, hey, we know this is a candidate for auto tracking. To call that out, you'll see a couple of things new on the load page. First of all, you'll see that we now have a carrier tracking status field, which shows scheduled, and also our automatic carrier tracking load field you just saw. So scrolling back up to our carrier banner, you'll see that my carrier tracking status is green, meaning scheduled, and that at the time specified, according to the settings we put in place on the TP, we're going to automatically start this tracking session without user intervention. Now, you might be thinking, how do we know which reference number to use to start this tracking session? Well, the expected workflow there is that you'll go into the load in the time between assigning the carrier and the time when the appointment, or I should say the start tracking session, is going to run, and you'll fill in the right carrier tracking number in this section here, and then you'll click Save to apply that to the load. Now, when the threshold is crossed, when an hour before the appointment is hit, our session will either turn to on, which you can see here. I have my driver phone in there and my carrier tracking status is set to on, or it will clearly call out that when we tried to start this tracking session automatically without user intervention, we were unable to do so for the reason specified here. And that's really how auto tracking works. Again, we're trying to help you by automating the start tracking process, and you do so by giving us the defaults, the settings at the customer level that we can use to start that tracking session. Now, the other side to this feature that's worth noting is we also added a simple but helpful carrier accepted tracking flag to the load to call out that the carrier has responded with a tracking session or with a tracking update, and therefore indicated that they've accepted tracking for this load. And this helps you with reporting, carrier scorecarding, and also helps you with exception management so you can focus on the loads for which carriers have not accepted their tracking session.